If you're moving into a cloud architect role in 2026, the landscape has changed more than you realize. I've personally interviewed with companies like FINRA, Goldman Sachs, Hughes Networks, and also worked with companies like AWS, Google Cloud, and now NVIDIA, both as a cloud engineer and a cloud architect. And this is where most people get stuck. The jump from cloud engineer to cloud architect. Not because they don't know enough tools, but because they are applying an engineer's approach for an architect role. And one question causes massive confusion here. How many years of experience do I need to become a cloud architect? The answer to that is there's no fixed number. I have seen engineers with 10 plus years of experience struggling to make a transition, and others with 1 to 3 years of strong experience making a move to an associate cloud architect role. Why? Because the role isn't unlocked by the time served, but by the way you think. Also, if you have developed a clear speciality in DevOps, data, AI, networking, security, etc. So today, let's close the gap. Hi, I'm Vishaka, a senior solutions architect, and today, in this video, we are covering an 8-layer engineer to architect roadmap for 2026. We will cover the skills architects actually use, how to think in systems and not in deployments, practice you can realistically do as a beginner. Next, we will also cover what won't work at an architect level. And the bonus is there's a dedicated section for AI workload design. Now, you can treat each layer as 1 week if you want pace, but the real goal is to develop the depth and not speed. Before we move forward, make sure you hit subscribe. We will be building a lot together in the following week. Let's dive in. For the layer 0, we have the architect's foundations. What this layer unlocks is the ability to reason without touching cloud services. Now, a lot of engineers struggle during tech interviews because they skip this. So, the key thing to note here is cloud architect role is a customer-facing role. Rather it be an internal customer or an external customer. And your job as a cloud architect is to design systems or solutions around the requirements provided by those customers. So, before touching any cloud services, you need to be able to reason with or be able to translate requirements into use cases or workloads. Now, the requirements could be anything. For example, if a customer needs 99.9% availability, you need to understand what that means in terms of downtime and architecture. If there's another requirement of serving users across US, Europe, or Asian regions, how will you work around latency and other data boundaries? Then there could be questions around traffic spikes during peak hours, how to protect sensitive data, and the most important, cost visibility. You know how expensive these resources are? That's one of the most crucial requirements. A lot of architecture decisions revolves around it. So to prepare for this, you need to be familiar with these 7 topics. Now remember, this is not an exhaustive list. There can be more topics, but make sure you prioritize them. First one is latency and throughput. Basically understand how long a request takes end to end and how a system handles load. Then the second topic is availability and reliability. Basically how a system is expected to be up and how it behaves when any component fails. Third topic is scaling basics, how system scales under load, where scaling breaks, and how adding resources not always help. Then the fourth topic is SLIs, SLOs, and SLAs, service level indicators, service level objectives, service level agreements. Different metrics to measure system health. Around the data side, cover data consistency and correctness, basically how fresh the data needs to be, and what are the trade-offs. Sixth topic is failure handling. You need to understand retries, timeouts, back-off strategies, basically how it's implemented. And the 7th one, and my favorite one, security and cost fundamentals. Go through the core security concepts like authentication, authorization, encryption, decryption, least privilege. And around the cost side, you need to understand how it increases as system scales. That was a prep layer. Now we move into layer 1. This is the system design building blocks. The goal of this week is to stop thinking in deployment, start thinking in system design choices. This particular layer can take around 1 to 1.5 weeks, but here are the system design topics you must cover. First one is databases, SQL versus NoSQL databases, also where the vector databases fit in. Here, you need to understand when a system needs structured transactional data, when it needs scale or flexibility, and when similarity-based retrieval makes sense for AI workloads. Second topic is read scaling and replication. So reads usually grow faster than writes, and how replication can help with it. Then the third topic is caching, how it reduces repeated, expensive reads. We are evolving a lot around databases because it is one of the most common bottlenecks if you ignore this. Then the fourth topic is load balancing, how traffic is distributed across services and instances. Then try to dig further into load balancing, understand internal versus external load balancers, L4 versus L7 layer, different routing strategies like round robin or smart routing. Fifth topic is stateless versus stateful applications. You need to understand when it's needed to tightly couple data with the systems. Then the sixth topic is synchronous versus asynchronous processing. The synchronous is basically, I'll answer this example. You're basically calling someone and you're expecting a response immediately. Whereas asynchronous processing is like sending a message to the other party and you may not get immediate response. Basically, whenever the other party has the bandwidth, they will respond. So make sure you cover that. The seventh topic is queues. Remember we discussed about RabbitMQ in our previous video. Here you need to understand how queues help in decoupling producers and consumers. Now, in this week, you need to do some practice. So with practice here, I mean you are writing things. Write the pros and cons of each concept you are covering, the trade-offs, as well as an example scenario where it will be used. This is just a high-level overview, but I have created a detailed guide covering all of these topics and the resources you can refer when you're diving in. So make sure you check them out. Layer 2 is infrastructure as platforms. The goal of this week is to build reusable platforms and not one-off automation. Here we are not talking about infrastructure as code, but structured infrastructure as code. So considering you know about Terraform, you may have worked with massive Terraform files, provisioning your infrastructure, but the goal of this layer is to break it down into modules, separate for network, separate for IAM, separate for compute. Then you work a little bit more around environment isolation, different folders for dev, staging, QA, production. In this layer, you will also focus on key concepts like change safety, remote state, locking, also how you can embed security by default, managing secrets, least privilege IAM, etc. Now, in this week, you will be looking into core tools. Create a comparison between Terraform, OpenTofu, Pulumi, Crossplane. Why is one used over other? And how Crossplane works with Kubernetes. Second tool that you need to look into is GitOps. Look further into Argo CD or Flux CD and how Kubernetes clusters are synced with whatever is in Git. Also deploy apps using it. The third thing you need to cover is platform add-ons, secret managers, policy as code, security scanners, internal developer portals. More info in the guide below. Now the task for this week is take a Terraform template which maybe has a VPC, IAM, Kubernetes cluster, recreate it in 3 modules, separate for network, separate for IAM, separate for compute, and then create 2 workspaces or folder structure, one for development and one for prod, and use the same modules that you created in step 1 with different variables. For the GitOps, I have added a project in the guide below. Now we are diving into layer 3. This is cloud platforms through workload pipeline. The goal of this week is to stop learning cloud as service catalogs and start learning them as workloads. The job of an architect is to take a use case, break it into components, and then understand how those components connect. So for this layer, we will be thinking in pipelines. The first pipeline is the DevOps pipeline. You must be familiar with these different stages like source, build, test, deploy, rollback, monitor. Now your job here is first, be clear with this pipeline. Second, understand what cloud services that are mapped to these individual stages. Third, find the failure points. For example, if a build fails, what would be the consequences around the entire pipeline? What if a pod crashes during the deployment stage? In this way, you will be able to connect the entire workflow end to end. Also cover the cloud services. Remember, the focus is the pipeline, not the service. You're just understanding how the service is translated. Similar thing you can do for a data pipeline. Stages could be ingest, process, store, analyze. Basically how the data moves within the system. You can also dive into AI pipelines, starting with data prep, embeddings, model training, model serving. This is where MLOps comes into play as well. Another pipeline that you need to focus on is networking pipeline. How does north-south traffic works? Basically, what's the flow of traffic from user to the system? And the second one is east-west traffic. How does systems or services communicate with each other? So for this layer, you will be doing a lot of whiteboarding, or you can even sketch things using a pen and a paper. Firstly, go through all these pipelines and then pick one, whichever you want to focus on. Try drawing it as a set of boxes and arrows. Try to label things where data is stored or where compute runs. And the main important point, start writing down where failures could happen and what the user would see or what would be the end user impact here. Write at least 3 points for the pipeline. Now we jump into layer 4. This is the networking, compute, and the storage layer. This is the backbone of every cloud architecture. So for networking, you need to focus on what are the entry points, load balancers, CDNs, API gateways. If you don't know these, go look into it. Then what are public versus private boundaries, end-to-end request path, basically journey of a request. Also the blast radius control. Within the compute section, you need to understand how you can choose compute based on the workload's behavior. Long-running versus bursty workloads, startup time versus steady performance, type of the scaling model. It could be manual, auto, or event-driven. And most important, the operational overhead. How much work you want to do versus how much you want the platform to manage for you. For the storage layer, you need to first understand different types, also the access patterns, difference between object versus block versus file storage, read versus write behavior, latency versus durability, hot versus cold data, cover all these topics. There are a few beginner practice tasks that I've added into the document. Make sure you follow them for this layer. Now we talk about layer 5, high availability, reliability, and disaster recovery. Here, you need to think about designing system that expects failure. As an architect, you must be able to answer what happens when a region fails versus when a zone fails, or what happens if a database fails. What would be your course of action? Or how will you design a system that can tolerate this with minimum downtime? So the concepts you need to focus on: multi-AZ versus multi-regional. Basically, more data centers in one region versus multiple regions. And you need to focus on failover patterns, basically primary, secondary workloads. Understand what is RPO and RTO. Here in this section, you will touch upon all the foundations you have built in layer 0, like retries, back-off strategies, and latency, throughput, as well as consistency. Now, as a practice, what you can do, if you have a project or if you have deployed a cluster, simulate a failure, stop one instance or a pod, and try to observe what breaks and how will you bring it back. I know it's a very simple scenario, but just try it. After that, write one incident note. What failed? How long did it take to recover? And third, what would you change to reduce the time? Now, we dive into layer 6. This is data architecture and AI ready systems. The goal of this layer is to choose data systems based on behavior and not popularity. Here, you are diving further into relational versus NoSQL, read versus write pattern, caching strategies, operational versus analytical data, streaming versus batch pipelines, also vector databases for AI workload. For this week, we have a project. You need to deploy a database in your favorite cloud provider. And here you have to be a little more hands-on with schemas, queries, latency, etc. Now the heart of our roadmap, layer 7, AI infrastructure and model serving. The goal of this layer is to architect AI workloads realistically. The core topics you need to focus on is data preparation and pre-processing. What is model training? What is model serving? How is model monitored? Basically, different stages of MLOps. Now, as a cloud architect, as I said, you have to focus a lot on cost, and AI workloads run on expensive compute. So you have to work a lot on optimization strategies. Basically, you need to dive further into GPU utilization and autoscaling. What are latency budgets? How you can batch jobs? What would be the throughput implications? Async pipelines. Also, you need to focus on RAG, aka Retrieval Augmented Generation system design. Some great courses and projects are in the guide below. Now, we are in the final level. That's layer 8. End-to-end architect thinking. As an architect, you should be able to design technical concepts to non-tech people. So communication plays an important part here. So the goal of this layer is to tie everything together and prepare the presentation part. So for this particular week/layer, create one end-to-end architect. It should take an infrastructure as code approach, have a CI/CD plan, an observability path, basically the monitoring and logging components. Think of the cost model here for this architecture, as well as what could be the failure scenarios. You can either draw it on a whiteboard or on a paper. Once that's done, you need to document that, because once you write, it becomes more easy for you to present it as well. So you need to write what problem this architecture solves, basically the requirements as an objective, put the high-level diagram in that, what key design decisions you made, and also the cost and failure story that we discussed. So what you need to practice for this layer, create a 1 to 2 page architecture doc, because once you write it, it's easy for you to present it. Start with what problem it solves. Basically, what's the objective or the requirements? Show the high-level diagram, key design decisions you made and why. Also the cost and failure story. Once that's done, try to think of analogy. Remember, for sync versus async communication, I took this analogy of calling someone versus messaging someone. Think of those things while writing the doc. Particular document is basically a portfolio piece, or you can use it as your interview storytelling script. Remember, once you write it down by yourself, it stays here. And if you do it more often, it becomes more easy during interview. I've added a few architectures in the doc below, so make sure you check it out. And that's your cloud engineer to cloud architect roadmap for 2026 with AI in the mix. Now, remember, your goal is not to learn faster, but to learn deeper. One system at a time, one design at a time. If this helped, make sure you share it with someone making the jump. And I'll see you in the next video.